A video of a prominent politician involved in an intimate moment has now been published on Twitter. It's understood a person deliberately filmed the person and then tried to demand money from them. When they refused, the perpetrator published the video. To help us understand the legal implications of this, we're joined now by advocate Zanyiwe Nthatisi-Asare, the CEO of Digitally Legal. Zanyiwe, good evening to you and thank you for your time. What recourse does the victim have in this case?
Good evening, Stephen. So, at face value, when I look at this, I see the Cybercrimes Act being, Section 16 specifically of the Cybercrimes Act being applicable, and also seeing the Films and Publications Amendment Act being applicable. So we can look at Section 16, right? So Section 16 of the Cybercrimes Act says that when one person distributes images of a sexual nature or nudity, you have a right of recourse. So this really stems from South Africa's constitutional right to privacy, where you are allowed to have, not even allowed, you've got the right for your privacy to be protected and your right to dignity to not be impaired. So she's got a defamatory case, one. Number two, she's got a criminal-based case. So that's really where she stands here in this case, the victim at hand.
And if you retweet the content, you're guilty as well, right?
So let's look at the Films and Publications Amendment Act. The Films and Publications Amendment Act has really come at the right time for South Africa, but I really think the world at large, where we've seen a lot of women and girls being victimized from a revenge porn perspective. Revenge porn is quite a contentious method of describing someone taking your personal images or videos and distributing them. But let's call it that for now. So in this particular instance, if you receive a video, an image of someone who is nude and you know that it's unlawful, you know that it has not been intended for you to have it, and you distribute it, you're just as guilty as the person who took it unlawfully. And the Films and Publications Board has two categories of people. So it has commercial distributors who, are people that would have the license to distribute porn, have channels for porn online. Then you've got the non-commercial. So if you are an individual who's not deriving any capital, any revenue from sending or sharing an image of a particular person, you would be seen as a distributor, and you would still be held, responsible and fall under the Films and Publications Amendment Act.
It's one of the things about this is how, I suppose, asymmetrical it is. I know the name of the victim. I don't know the name of the perpetrator. Do you expect there to be justice in this case? How difficult would that really be?
So this really speaks to the bigger issue globally when it comes to victim shaming and it comes to, holding the victim responsible and liable, and them being in the spotlight, which really is a societal issue that we need to change. We really need to look within ourselves as a people. But when it comes to, finding out who this particular person is, so, at this point in time, we don't know what these videos or images were intended for. I don't think there's sufficient information that's telling us that. Secondly, we don't know who distributed the initial message out, but there are methods of ascertaining this. So, for instance, we'd be able to get access to that particular person's phone when this becomes a criminal matter. We'd be able to get access to, if they've deleted it, people who can come forward and say, well, I received it from this person. So there are methods, some of them slightly impractical, some of them longer than others, but there are methods of ascertaining who did this and who sent the initial nude or sexual content out of this particular victim.
Advocate Zanyiwe Nthatisi-Asare, the CEO of Digitally Legal, thank you very much indeed for your time on The Pulse tonight.